Hi, and welcome to Gay Out the City. I'm your host, Prince Electro Diamond, and today I am here with Texas musician Sage Suede, who had an album out, Fooling Around, that came out July 30th, 2022, with the hit singles Slide Into the DMs and Keep On Flexing on Them. He will be at South by Southwest's The Underwear Store March 16th and has live show recordings on YouTube under Sage Suede. How you doing today, man?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Great. Awesome. It's so great to have you here.
Yeah, I did have two other albums since then too, this past year. But Fooling Around is also a really cool one. That one was really fun because I met with my friend. She's a dancer, and I just like
Yeah.
text her like, "Hey, can you swallow fire?" And she's like, "Yeah, I can swallow fire. I'll also like bring flaming swords and stuff." So we like made this really cool music video series. And I just had like colorful smoke grenades because I don't really twirl fire like she does, but
That's awesome.
it was perfect for the vibe.
Yeah. So, just to get into your background a little bit, are you originally from Austin, Texas, or did you move there?
Yeah, I'm from Austin.
And what were you like as a kid?
I was really into music, so I used to study a lot, but I wasn't a model yet because I thought that that was kind of shallow as a kid. So that's something that I got into a lot later because one of my friends was organizing a fashion show. So she was like, "Hey, you want to model in my fashion shows?" Then yeah, I just did a bunch of modeling after that. So
Awesome. Cool. So, what made you want to get into music?
I just always wanted to do music. At this point, it's like not really a want anymore. It's just something that I do. So
Yeah. I mean, I can totally get that. I mean, granted, as someone who's kind of like, I still do music, but it's like I strayed away from it a little bit because I put my focus into this because honestly, as I was explaining, I did an interview a couple of weeks ago with this musician Benji Bradshaw, and I was talking to him, kind of explaining about the fact that sometimes, and you probably know this as a songwriter, people are too, I would say, dumb to understand what you're trying to say. So
yeah, they
sometimes,
like make assumptions a lot,
yeah.
I feel like.
So sometimes you just have to like I figured, well, people aren't understanding me doing this shit, so let me get behind the fucking mic and just talk to them this way and literally dumb it down for them to understand what I'm about.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I'm really into like surrealism, so to me, it's like surrealism is one of the highest forms of art. And then
Yeah.
people are like, wanting the most washed out, just corporate dribble, and some like about that. But
Yeah, you're
I definitely
really
agree with you when it's more abstracted and stuff. That's like cooler to me. So
yeah. I will say that's definitely something that I noticed with you talking about how you are an independent artist. So, as someone who is an independent artist, do you have any goal of getting on a major label saying that they're able to understand what you're about?
um, I guess that could be kind of cool. I'm like open to it. It depends on who it is. Like there's some people that I know I'd probably vibe with, like I'm friends with this producer at Sony Latin America, and he's really cool. He likes my music, so I feel like I might consider him because he works with like Carol G and Anita. But I don't
Yeah.
really like. I don't really expect it because I know a lot of that industry. It's more like they're paying for all the assistants and stuff, and that's not really what I've been about so far. Like I'd be open to it maybe, but I'm more focused on actually making the art. So I think I'd still have to maintain some creative control to really have an interest.
Yeah. And also, I feel like with that, they would try and, because of the fact that you're bi, they would try and push you in one direction or the other. It'd have to be like, you can't be both. You can't show like both sides about you being attracted to guys, you being attracted to girls. Like mainstream America's not going to understand it. So you have to decide which anyone.
Yeah, there's like less depth. Like,
Yeah.
I did just mention like Anita, like she has some songs like that. Like, she has a song called Non Perco Mil Tempo, and she's like making out with a bunch of people, and like some are men and some are women, you know, like, so you could do something like that with depth, but it's usually harder with the major labels. So I definitely agree.
Well, it'd
That's
be
true.
harder for you as a guy because, like, with women, that's always been more acceptable. If you look at literally going back to 2003 when Britney kissed Madonna on the VMAs, like, that was
That's true. Yeah.
acceptable. If that was two guys, the whole country would have gone like ape shit.
I feel like I could make that happen if I wanted to. It's not like not like a big goal, but I feel like
Yeah,
I know kind of what direction I would need to do if that's what they wanted. Yeah, I remember that happening. That was a funny
yeah,
show. Um, I'm sure she had fun too. They both,
yeah,
or they all seemed like they had fun, all three of them. So
definitely. Oh, yeah, all three. Because again, a lot of people, anyone knows, everyone remembers Britney and Madonna. They all forget that she kissed Christina too.
I mean, how could you
Yeah,
forget that? I know what you mean. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I did like that other collab too, like the collab they did, like Me Against the Music. I don't know if there's a strong Christina Madonna collab though. There probably should be.
There isn't
I
one.
I don't think I've heard one,
No,
but that
because
would be cool.
I remember after that seeing an interview with Christina Aguilera where she said in 2003, she's like, I would have gone with Madonna 10 years ago, meaning in 1993, but now she's like outdated, and her song with Britney being Me Against the Music is sort of like bowling
Oh
pin
gosh.
formation. It's like,
I don't know, she went off. Oh my gosh. That's kind of
yeah,
funny though. I could see that. She's a really forward-thinking uh, musical approach, Christina does.
yeah,
I feel like they have some overlap though, so I could see that too. But maybe she hasn't seen it yet, you know, with like the Madam X thing and stuff. It's like there's some overlap. But I think Christina wants to do more like reggaeton, and she really likes like urban
that's definitely,
English bands like I do.
yeah, because I remembered I bought her last like English speaking album, Liberation. I love it, but like not many people were vibing with it.
I like her new album too. It's actually really good. Like she has like a song called like Brew House. It's good.
I've
Um,
heard some of
yeah.
it. Like, again, it's not bad. Christina's amazing. Christina's literally one of my vocal inspirations.
Hmm.
That's why, like, when people say, who inspired you to get into music? It's literally like there's more than one answer because I do more than one thing. Like, you're into rap, that's pretty much what you do. Whereas I'll do rap, I'll do pop, I'll do R&B, I'll do whatever the fuck I want to do. And that's probably why I asked you that question, knowing for a fact that probably 5, 10 years ago I would have said I wanted to be on a major label, but now it's like I don't know if they'd know what to do with me.
Yeah, that's true too. I definitely agree with that. Um, yeah, I really like to do different genres and stuff too. I think it's really interesting. Not everyone would say that I do rap. I say it's more like I like kind of sing. Uh, I like sing poetically. I like having my lyrics out. Sometimes it always has a flow because I want it to match the rhythm,
Right.
but it's not necessarily a rap all the time. Sometimes it is.
Well, it's because in a lot of way, I'm not going to say every song, but at least the songs I've heard of yours, they seem like they're trying to get more of a gay audience. Is that fair to say, or is
That is a big part of the audience already. So
yeah?
yeah, I would say that I do make content that they enjoy.
Well, of course it is. You do plenty of videos where you're half naked. Yeah, gee, a gay guy sees that and doesn't want to clicks on it. Shocker. Like,
Yeah, that's true. Um, yeah, I do think that's something that's fun. I've had more photo shoots like that recently. I'd like to do more music videos. I was thinking about maybe doing one like you were saying, like doing like alternate versions, having like a straight version and like a gay version of the video. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been kind of pondering different things that I could try, so I thought that might
And
be fun.
people who are like bi and pan would probably love that, especially guys, because they're literally, as I said, I don't think of any like bisexual or pansexual artists out there. There probably are. I just don't know them.
Oh, there definitely are. It's just hard to. They're not as open, I don't feel like, because it's easier that they could hide or whatever. But
Yeah.
there are definitely some good ones that I can think of. I don't really want
Okay.
to like out people on my
Yeah.
own. But I do have a
No,
playlist
no.
of
I
like
mean,
queer
like
artists on
that's
Spotify.
completely
So there's a
fair.
few
You
on there.
shouldn't want to out people because that's kind of, unless you're, well, I don't even think tabloid should do it, but it's like if you were tabloid, it makes sense. But like you just being an artist and you like either knowing or having a hunch isn't
Yeah,
exactly
that's true. I was in a tabloid recently for being a nudist in the UK.
what?
Yeah, over
Really?
Christmas, it was like it was in the Daily Star, so I went to several million people. But
But I mean, if anything,
that's the tabloid. I mean, I'm not really known for being a nudist, known for being a musician, but they're like going off about me being a
because
nudist.
that's what they like to do.
Yeah, definitely. Tabloids are
Like,
funny.
like shit. Probably if I were ever caught, like, say, sucking a guy's dick in drag, all of a sudden they'd be like, this trans person was caught, and it's like, hold the fuck up. Like, know what you're talking about before you say anything.
Yeah, they should definitely fact check that.
Yeah.
They don't want to get it wrong.
Well,
I do have some songs that are that use like non-binary lyrics, like they and them. I had some more I wrote. I have one that's coming up that I use them too. So I think that could be fun. I like those pronouns.
awesome. So, okay. Let's see. Going back to you. So, as I've said throughout this interview, you're bi. So, who is it easier to date? Is it easier to date guys or is it easier to date girls?
It depends how much money you have. And I guess how horny you are, because usually guys like want to hook up right away. So kind of depends. Personal
Well, okay.
preference, I guess.
Have you,
Um,
well, okay, I'm going to ask this question. I'm coming up with this on the spot. Have you been with more guys or girls? I'm just curious.
about the same. I don't keep track anymore, so I can't really
Yeah.
give you a number. I just know it's probably in the 200s, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I lost track.
That is true. When it's like, when people ask you like how many people have you had sex with, I'm like, it's a number that's more than 5. That's literally that's my best guess.
Yeah, like you're like vaguely keeping track, and then you don't care that much when you get to the 20s, and then you're just like, I
Yeah.
don't know anymore.
And then also it's like when they say how many dicks have you sucked, I'm like, the fuck? I was supposed to keep track of that too? Like, that doesn't count.
Yeah, I guess you could like use an emoji in your phone, just go through all your contacts.
So, okay. With your album Thick Juicy Bass, you said you explored your masculine and feminine side, whereas
hmm
in Fooling Around you explored your masculine side to an extreme, as you said. Is that because of the way fans reacted to that, or is that just because of the way you wanted to do things?
So I do all my art direction, right? And I am influenced by spirituality a little bit. That's one of the reasons I picked the name Sage. So that duality is really present in a lot of forms of spirituality. Like in Taoism, there's the main symbol with black and white, and it's like yin and yang. So I
Yeah.
did Thick Juicy Bass, and that was like the feminine energy. And then I did Fooling Around, and that was more the masculine energy. It's in terms of the lyrics. So there's still, you know, it is more balanced on the first album, like I said, but that one had the white background, and then the one after that I made a little bit heavier and more mask. And I do delineate that a little bit just because I know that I swear a lot, so it's not supposed to be like, you know, taken out of context because I'm not swearing at someone specifically. It's just broad, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I do try to make some tracks that are more feminine, some that are more masculine. So those albums are like lightly like that, and then the two albums I released after, like Savage Summer, that one's more feminine and it's pink. It has a lot of pink and orange in the lighting and
Yeah.
on the cover. And then the one after that, Renegade, it has like blue fire and it's got a lot of black. It's a lot more masculine. So I did like a feminine and masculine album last year too. So this year, I don't know if I'll do two. I might do one long album that's 13 tracks, or I might do two separate albums. I haven't really decided because I had that many demos that I could just push it out. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I guess what overall drives your writing process?
So I do write from the heart a lot. Um,
Yeah.
I'll usually just be like chilling and then I'll write out the lyrics first. Not everybody does that. A lot of people, I've heard about people doing more vocalizing, where they vocalize and then they write lyrics around the vowel sounds and stuff. But I'm not as into that. I prefer to write out all my lyrics because I like that meaning. I think lyrics are the biggest parts of depth in a song. Um, so I'll do that, and then I practice the demo vocals at home, just on like a headset. And
Yeah.
after that, I take it to the studio to Black Marigold and record with them, and they do offline mixing.
Yeah, I would definitely say like at least that is, and the reason I asked that is because even if I look back at a lot of the songs I wrote, a lot of them either came back from anger or sadness. I don't know why I can't write happy.
Well, that's not a bad thing either, because that I feel like that's one of the better things to write about. I mean, you don't want everything to be venting because you don't want everyone to feel vented, but it is
Well,
like a rock and roll thing.
it's
So,
like as I say,
or pop
anger,
rock.
sadness, and then like slutty whore. That's like my three modes of being able to write.
I can relate to that
Yeah,
too. Um, yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, you can channel those in different ways, though. You could write it like sarcastically or something too.
yeah. I have never written sarcastic. As I was saying, wrote in. I wrote probably the song that I was talking about. It's this song I wrote called "Kill Your Mother," and it's about essentially I grew up in kind of a conservative religious background, so it was not me wanting to like sit there and kill my mother. It was me wanting to like kill the conservative side that she like had
The
around me
stigma,
throughout my childhood.
basically.
Yeah. But with some people, it's like, oh, you have a shocking title like that. It was my sister
Yeah,
who's like, and it's like I literally on the SoundCloud, I literally copy and pasted the lyrics. It's like read the lyrics if you don't understand what I'm saying in the song.
yeah, I definitely get that. I feel like a lot of people aren't entertainers.
No, a
And they
lot of
always
people.
they're the ones that go off the most. Like artists don't have that perception. Like you get a bunch of artists to listen or like look at art, and they're just kind of like, huh, you know. But if they're not an artist or they're not an entertainer, they usually just try to read things as quickly as they can, and they're really shallow about it and stuff. So
Yeah, like they're probably like see, like I love the way that you've done things, but a lot of people would be like, "Oh, all he sings about is sex. All he writes about is sex." Like that's all. But in some ways, you got to be like, that's what gets people's attention.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that people sell a lot, but at the same time, it's like there's a lot more depth to it than that. Like I had that
Yeah.
song I released recently on Renegade where I sampled a cop giving me a citation for drug paraphernalia, and like
Oh,
that's because of like racism uh, in the war on drugs and just in general the war on drugs being
yeah.
um, very poorly practiced. You look at like Sweden and Scandinavian countries that their prison systems are built for rehabilitation and not enslavement, and it's a much better system. So
You're speaking
that's
my
why
language
I'm like
here.
speaking out against it.
Like,
It's
I
not
am not
just so that people
someone.
can fetishize me in handcuffs.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Sorry to
that's how
cut you
some
off.
people interpret things. So I definitely agree with you. Like I do get that impression when people try to write you off like based on like the smallest gist they can get.
Like, this was, again, going back to my sister, probably because she's talked to me the most about art. She said me doing this was a way to, like, just get attention. And it's like, duh. It's like, it's not just to get attention. This is how I express myself. But it's like,
hmm
I had to get people to pay attention to me some way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely self-expression.
Yeah.
And stage shows like you need to have something going on, or it's just boring.
Yeah.
Um, like some people want to go off like about gender norms or something really basic, but like if some dude goes on stage and they wear only neutrals, like all gray or all,
Yeah.
it's not really cool all the time. Like there needs to be some variety and a lot of movement and stuff.
Yeah. And I
So
mean, like,
it's definitely the outfit's a huge thing.
yeah. I mean, definitely. That's something I totally get. I mean, even I would say a lot of my like performing has been in like open mics and stuff like that. And I remember one time I had like screamed I had screamed the phrase motherfucker into the microphone the week before, and then the week after I got told by the owner not to say that. It's like, I'm not gonna
Oh,
repeat myself. Like, it's like that song wasn't even in my set that week. It's like, yes, I get there's older people in the audience. I'm not gonna be like an asshole and just swear my whole like 15, 20 minutes on stage. And when I realize that older people are there, I'm not dick. Like, but
yeah,
I
I know
have
what
to
you
do
mean.
things to get people's attention.
It depends on the venue, definitely. Um, but I do prefer when that's allowed because I feel like when I have to censor myself, it doesn't always add to it. But it is sometimes fun just because I've gotten like I've been using sound effects and they sound really cool. So like I
Yeah.
just made a censored version of my song Just Trippin', and it kind of sounds like MIA because I added a lot of sound effects. So
Yeah.
I like both versions. I was surprised because I thought I would just be like into the uncensored only because that's generally my preference. I like the heavier flows.
Yeah.
It just sounds cooler. So
I mean, like, I definitely get that.
are you like more a summer or like a winter month for your birth month?
For my birth month, I'm summer.
Oh, that's cool. I was just curious because like I feel like that affects like the kind of stuff that people like and stuff, just like based on like when they're born, like because I was born when it was like really cold, so I feel like I'm really like um yeah, I'm really
Well, I
chilled
mean,
and I like Savage
actually,
lyrics.
going into that whole summer and winter thing, like, which season do you prefer in?
Well, I live in Texas, so I like winter, but
See, I
that's only
live.
because I like the cold, and it doesn't get cold here.
Well, trust me, I'm in Florida. Believe me, it gets cold in Texas. Trust me. It's
Yeah, I mean it's
literally
just like it doesn't get that cold, so when we do get the cold, I usually like it, but
because I
it
mean, like,
depends. We have some power problems.
yeah, because like even I want to get out of Florida so bad because like it's too hot like most of the year. Like,
What part of Florida?
I'm in South Florida. I'm about in 45 minutes to an hour north of West Palm Beach.
Oh, that's a nice area. That's near Miami, right?
I'm about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from Miami.
Oh, that
It's on the
sounds
same
nice.
coast.
I lived in Tallahassee when I went to preschool, so it's like
Yeah,
a little further
Tallahassee.
north, I think.
That's the part of Florida where it's like I remember one time I was like trying to move to Atlanta and I was like going back and forth between Florida and Atlanta. And it's like once you get into the northern part of Florida, it's like, am I still in Florida? Because everybody's talking with a southern accent and like this thing of
I
I'm
think it
like,
was like north central. I don't remember completely,
yeah,
but
yeah. Tallahassee is kind of like a little bit closer to like Alabama. Yeah, Alabama, I think. God.
it might be. It's somewhere
Yeah.
over there. I only lived there for like a year, but it's like preschool, so.
You didn't what from what I know about Tallahassee, you didn't miss much.
Yeah, I think that's why we left so fast. We were like over it. There were a lot of gators though, so did see plenty of
Yeah.
gators. Have you been to like New Orleans or?
I have honestly only been to I've been to a few places outside of Florida. I've been to DC, I've been to New York, I've been to San Diego, and I've been to Atlanta. So I haven't been like many places, but I've gotten a chance to explore the country a little bit. Like
Yeah, those do sound fun. I haven't been to Atlanta yet, so I've been wanting to go. I have a lot of followers there, and like there are a lot of really good musicians and stuff. So
well, Atlanta for me, one of the reasons why I want to move there is because well, I'm into black guys, so there are a lot of black people in Atlanta, so I'm like work.
well, I mean, obviously that too. So,
Yeah.
but they do have like really cool music. I'd like to see more
Yeah.
like the bling they got there too, because I like love and hip hop and stuff. So I've
And
seen some of the
it's
stores they go to, and I'm like, oh, like I
and
don't
it's
want to
so
grill,
pretty
but
there.
I like hoops, so I want to see
Yeah.
what like chunky hoops they got.
Yeah, it's so pretty there. That's the one thing where it's like Florida, no matter what, it's like I've driven in Florida multiple places. When you drive down a street in Florida, they literally all look the same.
Oh
There is
yeah,
like there's like no
some of them
variation to
do,
anything.
yeah. Have you been to like Seaside yet?
Seaside, where's that?
It's in North Florida. It's like northwest, I think. So I went with a friend. Her parents just like got a cottage, and so I just like went with them to Florida. It was fun. Seaside's like nice. It's a little bougie and a little bit,
Yeah.
but they have like a cool fashion line and stuff. Like they have nice colors, and all the houses are painted cool colors. So
Yeah. See,
um,
I
I
actually
liked
probably
it.
I wouldn't mind that
Yeah, it was
because
pretty nice. It's like one of those like I don't know, kind of like a designer beach community. You can rent like a
yeah.
little condo or something. Yeah.
But I mean,
I do
even
love the
where,
rain though there in
yeah,
Florida. Florida has great storms.
I would say especially when explaining to Florida. I say there are like three parts of Florida. There's Miami, Orlando, Tampa, and then there's the rest of Florida. Because this is like conservative country. That's probably why I hate it here.
I hear Miami's not so much.
Well,
Maybe it
Miami,
is.
Orlando, and Tampa really aren't. Because I
Yeah.
lived in Orlando for 4 years, so like,
Texas is kind of like that too. Like the major cities are more progressive and stuff,
well,
but
yeah,
depends where you're
yeah,
at.
yeah. You don't gotta tell me about that. Your senator is Ted Cruz. You don't have to tell me about that. Believe me.
Yeah.
I know. I'm one of those people who like watches the news 5 days a week. Well, I watch non-mainstream news 5 days a week.
Yeah. I'm not super into the news. I like Vice. Vice is kind of cool.
Yeah.
They
See,
give me a
like,
good heads up on some things.
yeah, but Vice is a little bit more independent. It's not like Fox, CNN,
Yeah,
or
it is.
MSNBC, where it's all like it's like they're all corporate. You're getting nothing but a corporate side of things. They're never going to criticize the president, even though he can't like fucking give us health care, but he can give all this money away to other people. It's one of those things
Yeah, I
where,
don't know. Some of them do. Kind of depends.
yeah.
But
Well, Fox
it's a
News,
case by case basis. I can't
yeah,
call them all out for the same thing.
yeah,
But I did just get back from a show in Denver, and that was really fun. And so I like roomed with Dasman, and we performed a show at Globe Hall, and there were a few other musicians too, like Wax the Bandit and
yeah.
Desigo were there too. It was fun.
Nice. Oh, okay. I just thought of something. So, typically, where have you performed more? Have you performed more at like straight bars, or have you performed more at gay bars? Like, I don't really know much about Texas. Like,
So I performed at all kinds of places. I have like a really diverse portfolio of places that I performed at. I definitely really like places that are open and more understanding, and I feel like that's why there's so much of that diversity in the performance venues. Because I
yeah,
performed at gay bars, I performed at like queer events that were like mostly lesbians, and then okay, so the gay bar was drag show too, so that was like during a drag show. I was like the musical intermission or something. And then I
yeah,
also performed at a lot of like hip hop showcases where it was like everybody was doing hip hop. So those are also really fun. And I feel like that's where a lot of my fan base is like those kind of audiences, because it's harder to get to the more mainstream audience. I don't feel like it's really accessible unless you're just rich, you know? So
yeah,
like getting just like that general mainstream vibe, I don't really do so much, but I've been doing a lot of cool venues, and like Globe Hall, they're really cool too. They have a nice area, and it was perfect for recording. It was a really good venue with really cool lights and stuff. So I did really enjoy that show. And like Dasden, she doesn't talk about it a lot, but she's Daz Dillinger's daughter. He's like a really famous rapper producer. Um, Everybody knew him in the 90s. And yeah, so she's really good. Like she's up and coming. She's doing more vocals. Like that was one of her first shows with vocals. So we're gonna do a bunch of collabs where we do vocals together too.
awesome.
We haven't done vocals together yet, so it's gonna be fun.
Well, it's going to be exciting probably for people to see if you're really like vibing with somebody. You're going to at least work with them, and you're going to be able to mend in a way that like both you and her audience are going to love.
Oh yeah, totally. We also have a
Yeah.
podcast together, and we released like an EP. Our podcast is like it's 13 episodes so far, but they're pretty long episodes. So I'm not committed to doing another season just yet, but I've been thinking about it. Um, and ours is also just audio right now, so
Well, I mean I get that. Like I
it's just the
started doing
time,
this
you know.
yeah, I started doing this podcast last year. I had to take a break for a little bit because I was having foot problems, so I couldn't like get up and drag the way I can now.
Oh,
So it was like so it's like probably a few episodes in I started realizing I'm like, why am I not using Twitch? Like I would literally get up and drag no matter what to host the episode, and like all people could see were pictures. I'm like, at least for me, if I'm not like this, I'm not on.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Gotta have a cool outfit.
And it's also like when, at least for me, when I see podcasts of drag queens who don't get in drag to do it, I'm like, I thought you were a drag queen. I thought you loved getting up in like the zhuzh. Why are you not like doing that on your podcast? Something that you're like hosting.
Yeah, that does sound. I don't know. If you're doing video, then I feel like it's worth it.
Yeah.
My apartment's really dark. I have to turn on all my lights.
That's all right. One of the reasons why like I scheduled you the time that I did is because like I record this podcast on like a folding table that like as soon as we're done, I've got to fold back up, and I have like all the lights set on that I need because
Oh,
I
that's
don't want to
cool.
look.
Yeah, I like the light above you too. That looks cool.
Thanks. Yeah, that is like good. So okay. You said you're working on a new project. So like do you have an idea of like when you're gonna get finished, or is it still like or actually no.
S-
Let me phrase that question better. When you're gonna release it.
so my cats are about to go off too. They want their dinner, so they sing in a chorus.
There you go.
You're good boys, aren't you? They've been getting better at their harmonies.
That's okay. I was surprised. Like the first time I did an interview, my dad's dog started like barking, but she's been quiet this whole time. I'm surprised.
Yeah, they would have kept like quietly trying to probe me to feed them for probably another 30 minutes, but I was like, they sound
Yeah.
cute.
I mean, so obviously you are an animal person. Like I'm not really. I'm not really. Like I tolerate the dog because it's here. But like,
I prefer cats. I like
yeah.
dogs too, though.
Well,
Cats are
I
cute.
would. Here's the reason why I don't like dogs, and this is a story. Like one time when we like first got her, she like tore up $200 worth of my shoes that were in like boxes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's
Yesterday, one
why.
of my cats like ripped a blunt in half, but I'm okay with that. I have more. The
Yeah,
shoes, though, that's a lot of shoes. Oh my God,
yeah,
I would be frustrated.
and I mean it's like that's when I learned because my dad had another dog who never chewed up anything. It's like all of a sudden he got. First of all, he got the dog when I was away. He's like, I got a puppy. I'm like, are you insane? Because my dad's 72. I'm like, are you insane?
Oh.
Like you're an old man. What are you doing with a puppy? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
What kind of puppy is it? Do you know what like breed?
I think she's a Catahoula mix. I think I'm not sure.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, she's like a hunting dog.
Yeah. I just have two cats, but they're brothers, so that's
Yeah,
why. Like, they didn't want them to go separately, so
yeah.
uh, and they're way happier together, so I'm glad that I got two.
Well, okay. Did you rescue them or did you like get them
Hmm.
from a store?
I got them at a store, but they're rescues,
Oh, okay.
so it was through like a organization.
Because I know some people feel like some sort of way with that.
Yeah,
Person.
yeah, they're rescues though. Their old owner
Yeah,
couldn't keep them, so um, yeah. But they're really good, so I'm glad I got them because since they're brothers, they're just like way happier and they care about each other. So I don't have to
and
worry
since
so
they're
much about them.
yeah, and since they're probably like yours, you're like really in love with them
Yeah,
and you're like really attached to them. I have, well, probably
I feel like
because
cats are too aloof if you don't own them. Like they just like won't hang out as much, but they're really friendly. They say hi to everybody, but like they're like more aloof unless you're actually like feeding them.
yeah. Well, that's what I would probably like about cats is like cats most of the time will like leave you alone. They'll like chill. They'll come up to you when you like need them, but they're not like needy.
Yeah, for the most part. They meow a lot though for food. I just feel like their instinct is to look for food for like 2 hours before they eat, and then they
Well,
don't believe
that's
in daylight savings time.
that
So
that's any animal. Like Literally
that's the only thing.
every time I try and like leave my bedroom, my dad's dog will like run to the door to get a treat and like sit down
Yeah,
because it's
that's
like that's
funny.
how pets are.
Hmm.
They like constantly want to be fed,
It's true. Yeah,
and
food
it's
is like
like
their highlight.
it's like see like my dad would understand that, and I'd be like, bitch, I want to eat all the time too. I can't. Like that's one of my things. Like I try so hard. Like I eat so little for most of the week. So like when I go to the weekend, that's when I like eat a lot.
Yeah, I do a lot of intermittent fasting, so I usually eat in the evenings more.
Yeah.
Um, I just like, I don't know, I just feel like I like that I don't feel like my body is processing food as much while I'm awake.
Well, that's kind of interesting because they always tell you not to eat late. Like, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
because that's one thing. Like, I know you said this is usually a better time. See, I'm anyway. Um, like I would assume you're probably more of like a night person, right?
A little bit, yeah. I like nighttime.
See, I'm a little bit more of a morning person. Like, especially being in Florida, maybe this will change leaving. Like, I don't want to be out anywhere past like noon, 1 o'clock. I want to be home.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. I mean, I like clubs too, so sometimes I like to go to clubs just because they're kind of cool.
Well,
But I feel
okay.
like because it's hot here, I
Yeah.
prefer to be out at night.
Well, yeah, I get that. And I mean, like, if I live, as I said, if I probably lived in like West Palm Beach or Miami, I'd be out more often at night, but there are no clubs here.
Oh, yeah, without the clubs, I don't know what you'd really do. You just go to gas stations and smoke.
Yeah, it's like,
That's about it.
and it's like, well, they have like places where they're like straight bars, but they allow drag shows to go on. But to me, it's not the same as like being in a gay bar and seeing a drag show or like being in a gay bar.
Yeah, I mean, I like the atmosphere more when it's like more friendly like that. 'Cause
Yeah.
like I like to wear something cute. Like even my like top is like it's kind of
Oh, yeah, that's
mesh.
nice. Yeah.
Like I wouldn't really want to wear it somewhere where I'd get judged for that, but um and you know those are always just like douchey dudes that have no taste and their outfits are just ugh. They're probably wearing cargo pants or something if they're gonna be dinner, right? So, um, yeah. But I mean, I'm down for anywhere that's like actually cool or like chill. So even there's a few bars in Austin that they're not like full gay clubs, but they're like queer affirming, you know,
Yeah.
they're like gay friendly bars. So those are always chill too. I can still dress.
Weird because like even like going to like a gay bar, like New Year's Eve this year was probably the first time since my 21st birthday that I hadn't gone in drag. So it's like I don't know what to wear to a gay bar. Well, I mean, granted, I wasn't looking for anybody because I was staying with my friends with benefits, so it's like that takes some of the pressure off. Where it's like I don't have to look cute for somebody to fuck me. I know he's gonna come and fuck me when we get back to the hotel room, but like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I really like mesh. It kind of depends. Like I like textures too. So that texture also for me, it's like a sexy texture anyway.
yeah,
But so I like a lot of like mesh stuff. I have like a mesh tank, and then this is like I think this is mesh. It's like that. This one's a finer mesh, with the floral print on it. And then yeah, usually tank tops. You can't go wrong with the tank top.
yeah. Well, as I say, great thing about drag is I don't have to know what my body looks good in. I just know what to wear. Because in terms of like regular clothes, I'm very much when I'm not in drag, I'm very much like sweatpants, t-shirt kind of person. Like,
I mean, I think you should do like a rocker look because you have the aviators, so you could just wear like a
well,
leather jacket or pleather, and it would be cool,
I mean, I will definitely think about that as soon as I get money. That's my thing because currently, like right now, my only form of income is DoorDash because like I had to leave my job because of my feet. So like trying to find a new job has been difficult.
Yeah, that is hard. You could look at remote stuff maybe.
Well, I have literally I left the job to go to like a remote call center place, but it just wasn't working out.
Oh, I used to work at like a call center, um, and they put me on like the Latin American team, so it was like I was usually calling people in Brazil and Portuguese.
Yeah,
Um, it was okay. It was kind of frustrating. I didn't feel like it was equal to the resources that they gave to English speaking teams.
yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, okay. This should be another question. So, like, are you just an artist now, or do you still have like a day job?
I mean, I fund everything myself, so
Yeah,
it's all on me, it all comes from me, and that's all my creations. And then when I released Thick Juicy Bass, that was like a little bit after that role that I had, where it was mostly in Portuguese and Spanish calling people.
yeah,
It was recruiting, so it wasn't like just telemarketing. Like they would get paid if they got picked, but it was frustrating because we had to like interview everyone. Um,
yeah,
and a lot of times it didn't work out. So uh, I would consider that more of an organizational failure, just in general. But
yeah.
it's not something that they could fix. So,
Right.
oh well. um, but it was fun. I did do that right before my first album. That's why I mentioned that too, because I had some songs on there that are in Portuguese and Spanish also.
Yeah.
And I wanted to release an album that had like multiple languages. But then my later albums, I haven't done that so much because I realized that Spotify couldn't process it. All the streaming sites, they were all confused. Like,
Really.
they didn't have the capability to do a multilingual release yet. They didn't really do that until I feel like after Kelly just got like the Grammy with that one album. Um, the Yeah, the one that has that song Aguardiente y Limon. Um, and yeah, I feel like until then they didn't really have multilingual as like option really for when you submit your music to stores, and they added it recently, but um, it, some of those songs I think are still labeled in English,
Yeah.
which is like really detrimental to the way that they're consumed, and like people don't see what they're supposed to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now I'm separating the languages on my releases. I might do that for like a Spanglish song or something, but most of my stuff I'm gonna just keep the languages separate and do them as like singles or EPs, um, for that confusion, the distribution there. It's okay. I mean, being ahead of your time is like a good thing, I feel like. And the fact that they didn't have that already is just because they couldn't anticipate that people were
Oh,
capable of that, and like that's totally fine, I
yeah.
guess. I think in the long run people will get it.
Well, unfortunately, I hate to have to do this, but I have to cut you off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
fun.
Yeah, I'll
I'd
definitely
like
like
people
have you
to.
back at some point to like talk about everything.
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome if people could check out my new live show that I did in Denver. It's on my channel at
Yeah.
youtube.com/c/Sage Suede.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm sure you'll have some cool stuff coming up too, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, anyway, with that being said, this has been Gay Out the City. I'm your host, Prince Electro Diamond, and I hope you've enjoyed. Okay.